Hello, my little love. Did you have a good day today? I hope something made you smile. Now take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, and let your mind get soft and quiet. It's time for a gentle bedtime story. Once upon a time, in the oldest days of the world, when the mountains were still finding their shapes, and the rivers were just learning which way they wanted to flow, there was a city being built at the edge of the sea. It was a beautiful city, even then, when it was still new and unfinished, and full of the cheerful noise of people working and planning and imagining what it might one day become. The city sat on a long finger of land that stretched out into a sea so blue and so bright that on sunny days it was almost too beautiful to look at directly, like looking at something made of light. The hills around the city were covered in silver-green trees that shimmered and whispered in the sea wind, and the air smelled of salt and warm stone and the faint sweetness of wild herbs growing in the rocky soil. The people of this new city were thoughtful and hardworking and full of a deep and genuine love for the place they were building together. They were masons and weavers and potters and farmers and fishermen and poets and teachers, and every one of them had their own particular skill that they brought to the whole, the way different colors brought together make something more beautiful than any one of them could be alone. But the city needed a name. And more than a name, it needed a protector. Someone wise and strong and good to watch over it through all the seasons and all the years to come. Someone whose spirit would be present in every decision the people made and every difficulty they faced. A steady and guiding presence, like a lamp kept always burning at the center of a house. And so the people prayed to the gods, and two gods heard them and came. The first was Poseidon, the god of the sea. He was tall and broad and his hair and beard were the color of the deep ocean, dark blue-green and full of movement, and his eyes were the color of the sea on a stormy day, gray and bright and full of energy. He loved the sea and everything in it, the great rolling waves and the deep quiet trenches and the creatures that lived in the dark and the light of it. The fish and the whales and the octopuses with their clever tentacles and the tiny glowing things that drifted through the deep water like living stars. He arrived on a wave that curled up over the cliff top and set him gently down on the high rock above the city. And he stood there with the sea wind in his beard and a feeling of warm pleasure in his chest, because he loved this place already, the way it sat at the edge of his beloved water and caught the light. The second was Athena, the goddess of wisdom. She arrived more quietly, the way wisdom often does, without fanfare or great noise. Settling out of the clear air like a thought that has been forming for a long time and has finally found its shape. She was tall and calm and her eyes were the color of gray morning sky, that particular clear gray that holds both depth and light at once. She carried with her always a sense of quiet attention, as if she were listening to many things at once and understanding all of them. And this gave the air around her a quality of stillness, like the stillness at the center of something that is moving very wisely. The people of the city gathered on the hillside to watch and to listen, their faces turned up to the two great figures on the high rock with expressions of wonder and hope. And the particular kind of attentiveness you have when you know something important is happening and you do not want to miss a single moment of it. Poseidon spoke first, because he was eager and full of generous feeling, the way the sea is always full and always moving, always wanting to give what it has. He smiled broadly, and it was a warm and genuine smile, and he said, his voice rolling out over the hillside like a wave. "I would like to give this city a gift. A gift that shows what I can offer as your protector." And he raised his great hand and brought his trident down onto the high rock. Where the trident struck, the rock split open with a sound like a deep and gentle bell, and from the split rose a spring of water, clear and cold and bright, bubbling up from deep in the earth and running in a little stream over the edge of the rock and down the hillside, catching the sunlight as it went and turning it into 1,000 small bright flashes, like a string of diamonds in the sun. The people gasped with delight, because it was beautiful, and they moved forward to look and to touch the water with their fingers. It was cold and tasted of the deep earth, clean and clear and full of the quiet power of things that come from very far below the surface of the world. And Poseidon stood beside his spring with his eyes bright and his chest full of pride and happiness, because he truly wanted this good thing for them. And he waited to hear what they would say. Then it was Athena's turn. She stood for a moment in the way she always stood, quietly and with great steadiness. Her gray eyes looking out over the city and the sea and the hills, taking everything in, the way you look at something you are trying truly to understand. Then she reached into the folds of her robe and drew out something small. And she knelt down on the high rock with great care and pressed it into a crack in the stone where a little soil had gathered. And then she waited. For a moment, nothing happened. The people watched and the wind moved over the hillside and the little spring ran its bright course over the edge of the rock. And there was a held stillness over everything, the held breath of a moment just before something becomes clear. And then, slowly, so slowly you had to watch very carefully to see it happen, something green appeared in the crack in the rock. A tiny shoot, pale and curled, unfolding itself with enormous patience and care, the way all new things unfold when they are given exactly what they need. It stretched upward toward the sun, and as it stretched it thickened and darkened and more shoots appeared beside the first, and the whole thing grew with a steady, unhurried confidence, as if it had been waiting in the seed for exactly this moment, and now that the moment had come, it was simply becoming what it had always been meant to become. Within what felt like just a little time, though time moves differently when the gods are watching, a young tree stood on the high rock. Its trunk silver gray and its branches spreading outward in a gentle arc, and from every branch hung long, pointed leaves of deep green above and silver below, so that when the sea wind moved through them, they flashed and shimmered, dark and light, like something that was quietly breathing. And on those branches, small and green and already full of the promise of what they would become, hung the first fruits of the olive tree. The people of the city came close and looked at the tree and touched its leaves and felt the smooth green skin of the young fruit with wondering fingers. And Athena said, in her clear and steady voice that carried without being loud, "The way truly important things always can. This tree is a gift that will keep giving. From its fruit you can press oil for your lamps, so that your homes will be warm with light even in the darkest nights of winter. You can cook with it, and it will make your food good and nourishing and full of the warmth of the sun it has stored all summer long. You can use it to soothe your skin when the wind is cold, and to preserve the things you wish to keep. The tree itself will live for a very long time, longer than any of you, longer than your children, longer than their children. It will grow slowly and patiently, and it will be here long after all of us, giving and never asking for anything. but a little water and the light of the sun." There was a long silence after she finished speaking. The wind moved through the new olive tree and its leaves shimmered and whispered. The little spring ran bright over the edge of the rock. The sea below the city lay still and blue and enormous in the afternoon light. And then, slowly, the people began to talk among themselves. Not loudly, not with argument or sharpness, but in the gentle and thoughtful way of people who are taking something seriously and want to understand it fully before they make up their minds. Some of them spoke of the spring and how beautiful it was, how cold and clear, how wonderful it would be to have that brightness always near the center of their city. The sound of running water, the sight of it catching the light. And they were right that it was beautiful. It truly was. But others spoke of the olive tree and what it would give them over the long years to come. Not just once, not just the brightness of a single beautiful afternoon, but season after season, year after year. The slow and patient and endless giving of a living thing rooted deeply in their soil. The choosing took time, because the people were thoughtful and they respected both gifts and both givers. They did not want anyone to feel slighted or uncared for. They turned the question over and over, the way you turn a beautiful stone in your hands to see all its sides. And Poseidon, who was watching from his place on the high rock, saw the seriousness with which they deliberated, and something in his great chest softened. He had felt, at first, a small flicker of something when it became clear that the people were leaning toward Athena's gift. Not anger, nothing harsh, but a small and honest feeling of wishing things were different, of wanting to be chosen, of hoping that what he had given had been enough. He was quiet with this feeling for a moment, the way wise people are quiet with their feelings before they decide what to do with them. And then he thought about the olive tree. He looked at it standing silver green in the afternoon light with its branches spread wide and its leaves breathing in the sea wind. And he thought about what Athena had said, about the long years and the patient giving and the light it would bring to winter homes. And he felt, gradually, not loss but something truer than loss, a recognition. He recognized that what she had given them was something they needed more than what he had given, and he recognized further that this was not a failing of his gift or of himself, but simply the particular truth of this moment and this city and these people. He loved the sea. He loved it completely and without reservation. And he wanted these people to love it too, and they did. Living as they did at its edge, breathing its salt air every day, drawing their fish from its depths, sailing its surface, watching it change color through all the weathers and all the hours of the day. They were already his in the most important way, already in relationship with what he cared for most. They did not need his name on their city to know the sea. And so Poseidon looked at Athena, and Athena looked at him, and something passed between them in that look. Something warm and mutual and full of the ease of two beings who have known each other for a very long time and do not need to perform for each other. He said, in his deep rolling voice, "Your tree is a good gift. I see why they will choose it." And Athena said, with her clear gray eyes warm and honest, "Your spring is beautiful. It will always be here too, in this stone, in this place. The people will always know where it came from." And Poseidon nodded, slowly, and the nod was the nod of someone who has found their steadiness again after a small difficulty, and who feels good and solid and all right. The people of the city named it for Athena, and she became their protector. and she watched over them with the careful and steady attention she brought to everything. She was not a loud or showy protector. She did not make great demonstrations of power. She worked more quietly than that, in the way wisdom works, which is from the inside out. She helped them think more clearly when decisions were hard. She helped them see past the obvious surface of things to what was true beneath. She helped them build not just the stone and timber structures of their city, but the invisible structures that mattered more, the habits of fairness and thoughtfulness and the willingness to listen before judging and to question before concluding. And the olive trees, from that first silver-green sapling on the high rock, spread slowly through the hillsides and the valleys around the city. Planted by patient hands and tended through dry summers and wet winters, rooted deeply in the stony soil. Their trunks thickening over the years into the gnarled and beautiful shapes of great age. Every harvest time the people gathered the olives from the branches, spreading cloths beneath the trees and working quietly together in the cool autumn air. Their hands stained green and their baskets growing heavy, and the smell of the crushed fruit was rich and warm and full of the stored summers of the trees. They pressed the oil and poured it into clay jars and lined the jars along the walls of their storerooms, where the light fell across them in long golden bars in the afternoon, and they knew that whatever winter brought, they would have warmth and nourishment and light. Athena watched all of this with great satisfaction, the quiet satisfaction of someone who has given something that fits truly into the life of the people it was given to. Not something spectacular and brief, but something woven into the ordinary beautiful fabric of daily life. Something that would be there in the background of 1,000 ordinary mornings and evenings, the smell of olive oil warming in a pan. The soft light of an oil lamp on the wall of a room where someone was telling a story to a child settling toward sleep. Poseidon too was content. He could be felt everywhere in the city, in the smell of the sea that was always present in the air, in the sound of the waves that could be heard from the high places on still nights, in the deep and steady pulse of the tides that the people felt in their bones even when they could not see the water. He had not been forgotten. He had been woven in a different way, as part of the texture of the place rather than its name. And this suited him, because he was vast enough to be known without being named, old enough to be present without being loudly announced. And the city grew, slowly and beautifully, the way good things grow, putting down roots and spreading outward and becoming over the long years. Something that people from far away would hear about and want to see. A city where the light was particular and lovely, where the air tasted of salt and herbs and warm stone. Where the olive trees shimmered on the hillsides in the sea wind, and where the people had a tradition of thinking carefully before they chose, of weighing things slowly and honestly, of remembering that the most lasting gifts are not always the most immediately dazzling ones. They told the story of the two gifts to their children, and those children told it to their children, and the story went on, traveling through the years the way stories do, long after the first teller has gone quiet, long after the city has changed and grown and changed again. And in each telling the story carried with it what it had always carried, the gentle lesson of Poseidon, who felt his feelings honestly and then found his steadiness, and the quiet lesson of Athena, who gave not the most beautiful thing, but the most useful and lasting thing, and the lesson of the people who took their time and chose thoughtfully and were grateful to both. Athena herself, when she walked through the city in those early years and watched the people going about their days, felt something she did not always feel, a particular and personal warmth. The warmth of being in a place that had taken what you offered and used it truly and grown from it. It was, she thought, what wisdom was for. Not to be admired at a distance, but to be taken up and used in the ordinary living of a real and human life. She loved them for it. In her quiet, gray-eyed, steady way, she loved them very much. And on evenings when the sun went down over the sea and the city lights came on one by one in the gathering dusk, and the smell of olive oil warming in 1,000 kitchens drifted out through open windows on the warm evening air, and the old olive trees on the hillsides stood dark against the sky with the stars coming out above them, she would stand in the high place and look out over all of it and feel the deep and quiet rightness of something that has found its proper place in the world. The stars came out. The sea breathed. The olive trees stood patient and silver in the moonlight, their leaves turning gently in the night wind, whispering to each other in their old and contented language. And the city rested, as all beautiful things rest after a good day's living, warm and safe and held in the long, soft arms of the night. You did well today, my little love. Now let your eyes grow heavy, and let the night wrap around you like a soft blanket. Sleep well, sweet dreams, and rest deeply.